Hello, it's Uncommon Fossil, and I have now completed the Battle Pass for Scarlet and Violet in Pokemon TCG Live and others. I've got completed all 50 tiers, and this will give me a good chance to take a look at how the economy is functioning for a budget player. If you saw my earlier videos, and you can go back and take a look if you want some explanation of what I've done, but I held off crafting any new cards and buying any products in the in-game store until I completed the battle pass, so I can get a good sense of what I gain over the period of what expansion, and to see how is it beneficial as a budget player to hold off on crafting these new cards when the set comes out. We all want the new cards right away, but there are benefits to holding off to craft things, and I want to take a look what that payoff really is. So I've taken a look now on this chart. There's 3 columns. The first column is what I had for that currency at the start of Scarlet and Violet. The second column is what I anticipate I'll have at the end of Scarlet and Violet. Most of that I've already gained now, because through the Battle Pass is how most things are gained. I will gain some coins and crystals through the daily challenges through the rest of this period, because I still have over 40 days where the Battle Pass resets, and I've included that in the numbers of what I expect to have at the end of Scarlet and Violet. And then the last column is called the total gain during Scarlet and Violet. In other words, the net between what I had at the end, what I'll have at the end, minus what I had at the start. So the top line is coins. You can essentially ignore that. Those are cosmetic items. They don't help you build decks. They don't get you playable cards, so spend them on whatever you want. Don't really worry about it. You don't get yourself in trouble if you run out of coins. The currencies that matter for crafting and buying cards are crystals. That's what we spend on the in-game store. And with that, I started with 9,220 crystals. At the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, I imagine I should have 14,170 crystals at the end of Scarlet and Violet, and that gets me a net gain of 4,950 crystals that I'll have gained during the period of Scarlet and Violet. And then credits, which are a very important currency. It's what we craft cards with, so it's the best way to access the cards we want. I had 43,695 credits at the start of Scarlet and Violet. I anticipate having 51,890 credits at the end of Scarlet and Violet, so that the net gives me a gain of 8,195 credits over the 3 months or so period of Scarlet and Violet being the newest set. So those are the numbers of what I've gained. The next thing we want to look at is converting the crystals into credits, because, like I said, credits are what we craft the cards we want. That's the most important thing. But crystals, we buy things in the in-game store, and then as we have, it gives us cards that are duplicates. They get dusted, they get converted into credits. There's some older videos on that, so take a look if you want more information about it. The safest thing for most players is to buy the Shadow Rider VMAX League Battle Deck. It gets you, once you have a full playset of the cards, which you might have to buy a couple packs to get there, you get 3.3 credits per crystal spent. So that's kind of the conversion ratio. Each crystal becomes 3.3 credits. So I had 4,950 credits that I gained during Scarlet and Violet. Multiply that by 3.3, and I get 16,335 credits that become. So I add the 8,195 credits that I anticipate gaining over this Scarlet and Violet period. Add that to the 16,335 credits, and I get 24,530 credits. I'll just flip back to the previous slide for a moment just so you can see, right? So the crystals, I anticipate getting the 4,950 credits. I anticipate gaining 8,195. So the net I get at the end of Scarlet and Violet, as I anticipate gaining 24,530 credits. So one can round it to about 25,000 credits that I will gain during the Scarlet and Violet period. So that's obviously a very meaningful amount of credits. You can craft a good number of cards, but what does it really mean? So one of the things is, obviously we need to know what the cost of cards are. So to take a look at that, as well as take a look at what were the benefits to waiting to craft cards, I put together a wish list of 74 cards before at the beginning of Scarlet and Violet. Those are cards that were not included in the Battle Pass decks. It wasn't included in the starter decks. I got these cards from Omnipoke. He had a video of kind of recommended cards. So these 74 cards, I put together the list of these cards, and it would cost 16,000 credits to craft them in the game. So now, but obviously, as I worked through the Battle Pass, I opened a good number of Scarlet and Violet packs, and I pulled a decent number of cards from the wish list. And the value of all those cards I pulled is 7,000 credits. So by waiting to the end of the Battle Pass, if I want to go and craft to complete the wish list, I have saved myself 7,000 credits, so I'd only have to spend 9,000 credits to complete the wish list. So 7,000 credit saving by waiting. So what does this mean? This is the last slide here. Was it worth saving? Was it worth waiting? For me, it took me 26 days to complete the Battle Pass. Obviously, waiting isn't what I wanted to do. It's not what any of us wants to do. But I do think saving 7,000 credits out of the 24,530 credits that I'm going to gain is a meaningful amount. So I think that there is value in waiting to craft cards until you complete the Battle Pass. The less you want to wait, the more likely you're to run into issues with getting the cards you need or needing to buy codes online, which you can always do. If you want to spend your actual cash to get the cards, then this is not a concern. But for me, I don't want to do that, so I think I'm gonna have to wait when each new set comes out to craft the new cards. So as it says here, it's beneficial to wait until the completion of the Battle Pass to craft new cards. So that's a negative, right? I was hoping I would have only saved a few credits, and I would have gained through the Battle Pass a whole lot of credits, so I didn't have to wait to craft cards. But I do think it is beneficial. It's something I recommend to everyone if you want to have access to essentially all the cards you want, but not have to actually spend your money. The good news here, though, is at the end here, I think a budget player can obtain all, or at least pretty close to all the cards they want for every new set, right? Because this wish list that I put together that costs 16,000 crystals to craft them, or credits to craft them all, the reality is that's just an abbreviated wish list. There's a lot more cards than that I do want to get my hands on. There's a lot of EXs and things that I'd like to try out, right? That probably I'd try for a day or two and then just set aside saying, no, not going to work. But I do want to try many of these cards. So having, I probably will spend the full 24,000 credits that I'm getting on Scarlet and Violet cards. So good news, a budget player, you can get all the cards you want. Now, one caveat with that, you have to settle for the base art for things and base rarity, right? If you want to get high-level rarities of things, you're going to eventually run out of money. Yes, if you've migrated over, you have a lot of resources now, but if you spend them a lot faster than you're gaining them, eventually you're going to run out of resources and be forced to spend money or adjust what you're doing in-game. So, conclusion, wait to craft cards. It's worth it. But I do think with the way the live economy is set up right now, as a budget player, you can get by without actually spending money, and you can access all of the cards you're going to want. So that's pretty good news all in all. Hopefully this was helpful. Take care.